Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I thought that I would show you some Walmart auctions that I recently bid on. Now, I did not win any of these auctions. I do work with Walmart as well as Amazon, Costco, Lowe's, Home Depot, Sam's Club. There are different ways of buying different goods, and some people will just sell you pallets or cases or truckloads on a flat rate, or in some cases, you can bid on them. So, as you can see, I've got a few things that I'm bidding on here. These don't end, at least right now, until tomorrow. But let me see if I can find you an example of one that I bid on and why. Let me see. Something like this. This one would interest me because um, it had 170 units with a retail of 32,500. Now, for my business model, this one might not work super well because at 32,500, and these people ended up paying, well, I mean, it might have worked. Let's see. If I would have been paying, let's say, 25 cents on the dollar, that would have been 81.25. Now, this person paid 7,000, but remember, this is an entire truckload. So with an entire truckload, the freight is much higher. The freight on this probably would have been about $1,000. So this would have been 25 cents on the dollar. For me, I didn't buy it, and for you, it might not be ideal because, again, a truckload has a lot of stuff. It's big, it's bulky, and this was furniture. Furniture by its design is bulky. But I'm going to see if I can show you this. So, and again, it would have been about 25 cents on the dollar. Let me show you the manifest. Okay. So, in this case, we're going to open that file, all right? And let's look at the manifest of items. Okay, so it had some big stuff on it. Let's see what we've got here. There's the UPC codes for these items. And what is this? It's an 8-piece outdoor patio furniture set. This is kitchen and stools. The question becomes, is it really 4 sets, or is, one of these the kitchen island and one of them the stools? Whenever there's 2 doubles like that, especially on a large item, it makes me think, were there 2 boxes and did you scan them both? But a lot of times when you actually look at the actual images of the pallets, you can get some idea. But see how this is twice, and it's a wood base sofa. And maybe it's just in the one box and maybe they had duplicates of them. It concerns me a little bit, but let's look at the unit retail, and all of these are onesies. See that? So there's no duplicates. They're all one, it says one item of each. So let's just say that this was, it's over here for you. Okay, this is going to be how much they retail for. Let me take that, excuse me, let me take those dollar things away. Okay, now we paid, if we would have purchased this, as I just showed you, about 25 cents on the dollar. And remember, that includes my freight because they're not going to just sell it to me for the 7,000. They're going to say, don't forget, you also have to send us 8,000 because you have to pay for the freight before they send it. So you have to wire transfer the money, and that includes the freight. So here I'm going to put this. And if you don't know these formulas, don't worry. I can certainly show you all of this stuff and how I do these calculations. Many of you may very well know how to use Excel and Google Sheets, but if not, I can show you this as we break it down and figure it out. So here would be your cost of goods, basically. All right, so this is how much you'd be in each of these items, okay? So something like that, it would be $262. Even if I was wrong and this came in and it was actually one set in 2 boxes, which is not ideal, but if that was the case, you'd still be, you might still be able to make a little bit of money. I don't love that, but sometimes when things are boxed in 2 boxes, they will scan both boxes. Usually box 1 of 2 and box 2 of 2 have different UPCs. So that may very well not be the case here, but obviously one of the challenges you have when buying truckloads is you can't tell for sure. It's easier when you're buying 2, 3, or 4 pallets. But let's say you did want to buy this and you said, Amy, I don't have room for 24 pallets. It might say on there 29 pallet spaces, but it's not going to be 29 pallets. In fact, I can tell you by counting the pallet IDs how many pallets this is going to be of furniture. And let me just do that to show you really quick. I'm just going to open another window. Then I'm going to take this by the pallet. They number each pallet. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to sort it. In this case, smallest to largest. We're just looking for pallet numbers. So we've got a pallet here. Okay, then there's the 767 pallet. And there's this pallet that ends in 839. Then there's this pallet that ends in 862. This pallet that ends in 889. And again, it might say that it's got 29 pallets, but that's how many pallet spaces it takes up. Remember, some of these might be double pallets because they had to use a longer pallet to fit something long like a sofa on the shipping material. 6, then there's 77. I'll be getting to the end here soon, but I just want to show you. I'm going to figure out how many pallets this actually was. Sorry, that's not what I meant. Okay. All right, so then we've got 90. Sorry, this is taking a long time. 90, 16, and 4, 3, 6, 7. All right, so these are how many individual pallets are there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think 8, sorry, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's 16 pallets on this truckload. So again, and they called it, like 29. So some of them are going to be double pallets. So even though it says truckload, and it is a truckload, it's more like 16 pallets. I mention that because let's say you were going to go in on a deal like this with 2 or 3 other people that were going to sell the items. One way you can do that is if, let's say, 16 of these pallets come in, you guys can sort of pick teams. Like I can show you how to split up the spreadsheet so that one of you picks one pallet, one of you picks another, one picks another, and one picks another. You can also sort it by dollar amount so that you guys try to get it even. And that's one way that you can split up the cost of this and not all be in it so much money and so much space if you need to do that. So once again, this is about how much you'd be in each of these items. Now let's say that you were going to try to charge, let's say, 65 cents on the dollar for this stuff, right? So at 65 cents on the dollar, which again is still a good deal to the end user, and you may choose to go 70%. It's obviously up to you. So this is going to equal. All right, so then you'd be looking at selling these for around these prices. Some of these are smaller items, but again, dressers and stuff, you can still sell them. Furniture tends to be larger items. So again, you'd be looking at maybe selling this one, asking $700 for it. So let's deep dive this one a bit. Okay, let me show you one little trick here. Sometimes these manifests will come in and not have a complete UPC, which can be aggravating, but don't worry, I have a workaround. My favorite is the UPC item database. And if you're looking and it says, hey, we don't know what that is, if it comes up with nothing, say that. I'm going to go back now to the validator and I'm going to tell it, listen, this is what I know. What's the last digit? And it's going to tell me it's 8. So then I go back up here and I enter 8. And again, I can show you how to do this so you do the whole sheet at once and you don't have to worry about that. But again, there it is. So do you see why I might be concerned that in fact is coming in 2 boxes and they scanned it twice? It's possible that they packed that so well that it's in one huge box. It's certainly possible. I've never had this particular item, but it's also possible that it comes in 2 boxes. But so let's go take a look at it. All right. So it's $1,050, and I believe that that's what they said it was on the manifest. Remember, sometimes it'll come up bigger, sometimes it'll come up smaller. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. And obviously, it's a beautiful set. So either way, even if it does come just one item in 2 boxes, you could still probably make this a good deal for both you and the buyer. So as you can see here, it's normally about $1,200. This might just be a Walmart brand, but let's see if it's being sold at any other stores, and if so, for how much. Okay, so here she is, and it's a slightly different color, but this looks like the same one. And as you can see here, it's $1,350 on Amazon. So again, we could take this, and again, this is if you were going to buy this today on Amazon, come on, that's literally how much it would cost, right? Excuse me, let me close that a little bit and go back. Sorry. Where did we just find that here? Amazon. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that again. So if you were going to make the ad for this, I would probably do something like this. I would probably take my snipping tool, create this screenshot that literally shows that they're selling the heck out of it on Amazon. There's 11 left in stock. So I would use that, saying that the new retail was $13.50. So that would be one of the pictures I would keep. My front picture, going back to Walmart, because that's a dark indigo blue, that would probably be my main image. So again, you can either right click and save that image, or again, you could use the snipping tool, which is a very handy thing here. And that could be your main image. So again, it's a patio set with a fire table. So on your ad, you could put $1,350 and you could sell it for, let's say, $9.99. So let's go back to the spreadsheet. If you were selling it for $9.99, if this is a double box, that's a little bit of a problem. But if you get 2 new sets here, then that would definitely be some good money. So on something like that, you could probably sell it for $9.99. And then let's see this, kitchen island and stools. I'm going to try to show you the same thing here on UPC item database. Again, I don't think it's going to have all the numbers it needs, but I also know a trick. So I go to the validator and tell it, hey, what's the last digit on this one? Would you let me know? It's going to say, okay, it's 7. And clearly that's it, right? So there we go. And let's go look at it really at, sure, let's go look at it at Home Depot right now. Let's see if it's really there and if it's the same thing. What do you say, Home Depot? Where'd you go, buddy? And every now and again, you try to do this and it takes you to a different spot. But let's see if it's going to let us go to Home Depot. So there she is at Home Depot. And again, so at Home Depot, and what a beautiful image that is, huh? At Home Depot. Oh, you little stinker. Come on. At Home Depot, I'm going to zoom in for you. Here's an adorable kitchen island. Look, it's got storage. It looks like it comes with the seating. So it comes with the stools. So again, at Home Depot, that's a $1,250 or $1,000 item. So let me run back to my spreadsheet and say, okay, so that's, that's what they're showing it at Walmart at $765. But again, if you had this guy listed at $750 and you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and they all come in one shipping box, then you could make some pretty good money at $250 each for that. They'd still be getting a good deal, and you'd be making $250, $500, $750, $1,000, about $1,250 just on those items. So there are certainly benefits to buying by the truckload. As you can see here, there's a lot of high dollar items here that would sell really well. So if you're going to be putting up that kind of money, and let me get back to the truckload itself. All right. So again, these people want it for $7,000. By the time they paid their freight, they probably paid $8,000, but it's for $32,000 worth of stuff. So $32,000 worth of stuff. If you were able to sell it for, you'd be still giving people a good deal. If in theory you could sell it for about $20,000. Now, of course, you spent $8,000 getting it there. But again, that's $12,000. So if you and your friends split the cost, you, in theory, could each make, $3,000? So 3, 6, 9, 12,000. And again, even if I'm wrong by half and you each put in 2,000, you should be able to make 2,000 on your 2,000. There are some things in this game. Are all of them brand new? Are they just shelf pulls? I don't know. This particular one did not show images of the actual pallets, but let me show you a few others that I'm bidding on now. And one of the reasons that I bid on these ones is because it does show me the pallets. I don't love the price point on these because they're about a $50 average. And the reason I can tell that is it's about $50,000 and it's about 1,000 items. So basically that means that they're a $50 average. I'm going to show you, you'll be able to tell from here that that's not the case. There's going to be some smaller items, and then of course there's going to be some much higher dollar items. So as you can see there, there's a $1,400 item and $900 item and an $800 item, several of those $600 items. So there's definitely some big stuff. So another thing you could do is get something like this in, take off the larger things where you're going to make a good amount of money with those, and then sell off the smaller stuff to somebody who might want to take it to a flea market, or somebody who might want to put a shelf up at their friend's barber shop or their friend's RC car track, where you're not competing with their retail, but you're still offering people really cool stuff at half price. So like, I don't know if that's a game for PlayStation 3, but something, smaller than that, they could put on shelves in a secondhand store or something like that. And again, here is an example of one of the reasons that I bid on this pallet. I can see with my own eyes what's there. And again, I haven't bought toilet paper or paper towels for any of my businesses for years because so many of them come on the pallets. We did not worry about a lack of paper products during the pandemic because we had plenty of stuff. But as you can see, I can sort of get a close-up and get an idea of what these pallets look like. It's by no means perfect, but right there I could actually see the items in the flesh. See if I can point out anything to you that caught my eye. Again, a lot of times it just looks like pallets and boxes. And of course, even if I have a picture, I'm not sure what that item is, but that's one of the reasons that I bid on that. So I just wanted to show you a Walmart example of the items that they sell. And again, this is, nobody else has bid on this yet. So I'm currently winning at $1. But remember, even at $1, I have to spend $2,000 on freight to get it here because it's an entire truckload out of Las Vegas. I am in Reno, Nevada, and that's about 6 to 8 hours, probably by semi-truck, probably 8 hours away. So that takes them a lot of time and a lot of fuel. If you're in a place where the shipping is only 4 hours away or 2 hours away, that freight cost is going to be less, more like $1,000. But it depends on the amount of stuff you're buying. And if you're buying an entire truckload, but there's going to be ways that you can truckload hack this deal if you have others that want to join in with you. And if they don't want to join in with you, but still want to make the money, you could also, purchase this, cherry pick the items because you need to get the investment money back and make some profit, and then have them sell off the smaller items. And that way they can get into the buying game by using their labor instead of their capital to make the first purchases. So you guys can work together and figure out a way to work together, or that person can be the one that meets with the buyers, things like that. So there's ways that you can sort of get around it. Obviously, I recommend you trying to get items that are $100 retail, $200 retail, $800 retail, because they are sometimes easier to check in because the larger the item, sometimes the fewer the parts, like that kitchen island with 4 chairs. If that comes in and it's complete, it's pretty easy to tell it's complete. And if it came in and one of the bar stools had a crack on it, that would be a reason that somebody might have refused it as a new thing. But if you sold it and said, hey, I can give you $100 off if you want the one with the one messed up bar stool, but you should in theory have 3 others that don't have damage. But there are things you can do like that. So that's kind of why I showed this video, was so that I could kind of show you some of the options that you can get from Walmart. And again, they are all across the country. So excuse me, let me get this up here. They're all across the country. So you'll be able to get small things, what they call LTL, which means less than truckload, or like I buy, you can buy full truckloads. And even if you are not ready for a full truckload, you can get on your Facebook groups, ask people, hey, does anybody want to go in on this truckload? And you guys can divvy it up based on who spent what, or whatever way you want to structure it. There are no rules. All of this is perfectly legal, and capitalism is the way of the land here in America. So you have every right to buy this and take your best shot and turn around and sell this stuff to make some money and sell it to people at prices that they couldn't otherwise get. So I will end this video for now and talk to you soon. All right.